Hello, everybody. I hope you're doing okay. I just got I just got in, so I thought I better check in. Being Sunday, I thought if I didn't check in, then uh, y'all think I was something had happened, but it hasn't. I'm sitting here with a glass of iced tea and just waiting to see if I've got everything going or not. Yeah, I've had a busy day today. I had to, I got up really early because I had to uh, go to the way far side of Dallas to get my stepsister and pick her up at the a Marriott hotel. Of course, it was horrendous traffic. Not used to on Sundays. You could. I don't like this camera, and I've noticed that on the camera in the kitchen. Uh, that I get a focusing problem when I'm cooking in there, so I've got to figure that out. I'm sorry. Some of the videos they get stuck on focus, and then you can't see the kitchen stove or the counter. Sheila says, "Hello, how has your day been?" Well, you have already answered that before you got my text, but I didn't see a text, Sheila. Let me check it now. Uh, I don't see a text. Maybe you're talking about on the chat, I guess. Uh, so today, going into Dallas towards downtown, it was so many people. I just couldn't. I couldn't believe it. And then I looked up, and there was this storm cloud that was, I don't know, it was humongous. And I was driving right towards it, and it looked like it was lowering down, like the tornado. So luckily, I said, Lord, you've got to stop, get this fixed. I said, because uh, I don't want to drive into that storm. I don't even want to drive into this rain because people are passing me like I've forgot everything and I'm just standing still. And so, in about 5 minutes, the rain stopped and that storm cloud just kind of went back up. And that was all that but now coming back out of it I was near going towards Houston. Uh, it rained like cats and dogs. You wouldn't believe. Uh, and of course, people down there were crazy driving. So I was glad to get back home around lunch. I guess it's 12 o'clock, uh, maybe one. Cause I told my sister, I said, let's stop at the McKinney, Texas Goodwill. I said, because I need a bread pan that I can put in my little stove in case I want to bake bread. Uh, and uh, I didn't find that, but I found two pair of shorts for $3.99 a piece. Expensive shorts. Since it's getting summer, I thought everything I've outgrown uh, is my shorts and pants because of that. All that bread, that bread, it's caused me to kind of spread out there at the bottom. So I'd rather buy them at $3.99 because you never know with this cancer and stuff. or my everything. You never know if you're going to get tiny or you're going to stay big or you whatever. So I'm not going to. And then the shorts that I have are, I'm just, I can't get them on. So these today, though, one good thing about them is they got a drawstring in both pair. Maybe they're making them more that way nowadays because all mine have buttons. And so I was happy that they had drawstrings in them because I thought, I can take them down to about a 36 or up to about a 42. So that's going to give me a lot of leadway in there for my bread, late night cracker and bread weight gains because I do gain weight and then I lose it, and that's just the way it goes. So I hope all of y'all are doing good. Um, Being Sunday, there's never anything on TV. Have y'all noticed that there's just nothing on the television worth to watch? No good movies. I mean, I've seen, through the pandemic, Mother and I bet we watched, I don't know how many movies. Not having any contact with the outside world, we just stayed here and watched movies. And a lot of old movies. Mother doesn't care for black and white, even though she was born in the day when they made the black and white. I think it's because, like I've said before, I think it's because her and her brother and sisters would go to the theater and that's all they showed back then was black and white, and she just got burned out on them because they'd go to the show and it cost them about a nickel, and they'd get a hamburger and it was about a nickel. I've heard her talk about it. And they'd go and stay all day. Grandmother would give them 25 cents and they'd stay all day and eat maybe both meals and see 3 pictures, 4 pictures a day. I don't know. That's never will happen again. Way these gas prices. That's one thing I stopped and it was $3 and I think 65 cents for gas. And I thought, Lord, I don't know why these people won't drive right, because they're burning so much gas that they don't need, but revving those cars and trucks up. And they were just everywhere I looked. It was some places around $4, but I found a little place that I always get gas at, and it usually stays. They try to outdo the one across the road, so they're both kind of in, a fight over gas prices. So I go to the one, whichever. I'm not in a fight with either one of them, so I go to whichever one's got the cheapest gas, and I wave at the other. So I was happy to get it at $3 and whatever. And I didn't fill it up because, Lord, this little car that it don't use a lot of gas. It probably $20 is all that I used. Maybe not even that. I don't know. I'm not good with. I just know that we had good gas mileage today, even though it was raining. But those people in those big trucks, oh, they got on my butt, and 2 times I thought I was a goner because they just get right up on you and blare those things, and it scares you the bejesus out of you. So we made that. I got that done, and then I got home and I had to have a little nap. I have to have naps. At this stage in my career, we all have to have naps. So I guess, Sheila, it's me and you tonight. She said, well, it's just me and you tonight. We've got 20 people, but a lot of them don't chime in. I don't know if they're blind, crippled, or crazy, or they just listen. Maybe they just listen. I don't know. It's fine with me, whatever they want to do. I'm here if they want to talk. Uh-huh. Drink a glass of tea. You know, we got to have our tea. There's Grandma Teresa. Now, she always gives me that uh, wave, and I'm always glad to see it. And let me think what else has happened. Well, I don't know because I am just so sick of the news. I could puke. I just watch all that about that war and about the all that sexual stuff, and I get tired of it. Uh, you know, one trying to beat up the other, and I'm just, I don't know. You know, I wonder what our world's coming to. I wonder what my poor grandmother would think at this day and age. You know, I had a country grandmother, and then I had a city grandmother, kind of like the country mouse and the city mouse. Now, my country grandmother was my mother's mother, and she never said a bad word. Well, neither one of them said bad stuff about anybody. But my city grandmother was well traveled, and uh, she had a lot of input on politics, and and then my mother's mother. I don't ever remember her saying much about the news or politics at all. You know, if she did, uh, my mother's mother just didn't say much about anybody or anything that might upset the apple cart. Now, my other grandmother, she was more uh, out there. You know, she would speak her piece, watch all the, like when I remember as a little boy sitting with mother and my other grandmother, and we watched when Nixon was impeached, and they watched. I don't remember how many nights it was or wasn't, but I would just remember, Billy, get up and sit down. We're trying to watch this, and that was nothing you could get on YouTube or whatever. I've got a TV like it that was in the place, one of the little Magnavox with the big knobs, and it looked like a fish aquarium front on it, and we would sit there and you couldn't talk. Now they weren't ugly. They would get you popcorn or get you a candy bar maybe or something. I'm just guessing, but they wanted to hear every word of that. And John F. Kennedy, when he was killed, uh, that was another biggie on the TV. Um, there's been a lot of biggies, you know, and I remember them just having to sit still and be quiet, or because my grandmother and mother, they would get involved. And as the world turns, do y'all remember that show? Our guiding light? Boy, you did not utter a word around lunchtime if those soap operas is on, because you'd get a switching or you'd get told you go outside and play. We're trying to watch our soap opera. And I don't even know. Maybe they're still on and maybe they're not. I don't know. But those little memories, they're what I live on because I get tickled about it. Sometimes if I'm having a real bad day, I'll think about something and I'll just get tickled. And I know people think I'm half wit. I'm not even a whole wit. I'm just a half wit. At the store, I might get tickled and think about something that happened 40 years ago, and these people just looking at me like I've lost my ever loving mind. Well, maybe I have. I don't know. MREI page says, Waves, yes, listening. Well, good. I'm glad you're listening. D, good evening, y'all. Hey, Billie Jean Mama, I'm here. I was doing dishes, so my hands were wet and couldn't comment right away. Sheila. And then Sheila, thumbs up. I know y'all are listening. I know y'all are, and I'm glad that you are, because a lot of my life I've just been talking to the air. But when I got on YouTube, I finally had some people to listen to. When I was a little boy, y'all, I didn't have anybody to play with. because we lived on that farm ranch, and I just didn't have any friends. Y'all have heard me say this before, and my friends were June bugs, sticks, and mud. And I would I remember sitting in the edge of the garden where the daddy had plowed and planted the seeds. Well, that sandy soil there on the river uh, was also in our in our gardens, because we lived right there on the banks close to the Red River, and I'd get my cars and all my little this and that and play in the garden. I'd play in the with little shovels, and but I remember a vivid memory, and I was probably very young, like 6 years old. I don't remember a lot about my childhood. Well, certain parts, but I remember this. I built a elaborate circus. Well, or I guess it'd be a fair. I had made a little Ferris wheel out of matchsticks, and I made roads, and I made like a water where you go through not a tunnel of love like they used to have, but like a whatever. I made all this stuff out of sticks, and I tie them together with grass or pieces of hay. And then I had my little cars, and I probably had some kind of little circus stuff or fair stuff. And I could play out there for hours and hours. And that hot sun, I'd draw water at the pump, and I'd bring it and pour it in my little gully of where the boats, I put little boats, and I'd play out there for hours by myself and talk to myself and laugh with myself. So I think that's what's helped me in this latter years to be able to just carry on a conversation with the wind. And the imagination is just unique. I mean, I learned stuff, I guess, from books later on, because mother would take me to the library, the city library or town library, and I would spend hours and hours in there. And if I didn't know something, I would make sure I found out. And this is a way before we had computers. I'd be dangerous now if I was young, because I was so inquisitive about everything. The first, I was going to show, let me see if I can get it here. Some of y'all asked about my artwork. Well, this I found in one of the books, the Bible, and it says, a picture from Billie Jean in kindergarten. Well, my grandmother, that's in my grandmother's handwriting. I had a piece of duct tape on it, but this is the first picture that I did of a donkey and a cart. Now, I was in kindergarten. You can't see that because of the green screen, but that's green is why. But that little donkey and a cart was, I guess, the first picture that I colored or drew or whatever. And I was looking through stuff, and I thought, that's got to be the first one that I ever did. I don't know. But now I look back, and grandmother and mother, they bought me construction paper. They bought me all kind of art supplies, as we would say nowadays. And I had it, to use. Let's see, where am I? Grandma Teresa says, back then kids were seen and not heard, and you'd be in trouble. Yeah, that's very true. Thanks, Grandma Teresa said, cute. When you think about these memories, they help you get through if you're going through some crazy times, you think about the good days, the good times. I remember, I remember this, I remember that, and uh, I enjoy it. I enjoy it because that's what keeps me going. And Mom, she doesn't remember a lot of anything, uh, and it saddens me because Mother and I used to have, and grandmother used to have some of the most intriguing ideas and conversations that anybody could have. Uh, but I guess that's part of life. You live your life, and then, and I've always said, since we're talking here, I've always said that's one way God lets elderly people like that are in the nursing home or something. That's the way God lets them deal, which my mother does not have to deal with. I'm here for her. I do everything for her. But some people aren't that lucky. Their mother or their children have put them in the nursing home or uh, in a care facility of some kind. And I feel like that's the way the Lord lets uh, certain people deal with uh, not having their family, and learns to deal with not, they don't know that they're not wanted. It's not that they're not wanted, it's just that kids nowadays just doesn't have time for their parents. And I think that's the way God lets the parents deal with the busyness of the children, is just let them uh, not know, that where I am. Like, I won't have anybody to take care of me. Uh, and I'd rather live in my own little world. And it kind of becomes that way anyway. Uh, so I think it's a good idea that maybe we do uh, have these little mental forgetfulness, because then we don't have to worry about where is this or where is that or who is this or who is that. So I think it's just a way that we were taught, or not taught, but by God, we're the way to deal with aging. If you don't know, if you don't have a mental thought, then you can't miss it. So I think that's good in a certain way. uh, Dee says, "Oh my God, Billy, what a talent you are! I was only doing stick figures in kindergarten. I remember doing some of those too. I probably still would do stick figures. I've got another animal portrait I've got to get done pretty soon, and keep procrastinating because I've been having little headaches, and it's the allergy, and I can't concentrate when I'm doing real minor work on a painting, real like the hair on an animal or something. I have to. It takes a lot from your eye strain, so you have to be not have a headache. I'll tell you that much. Grandma Teresa says, I remember us taking rides. Mom would get some lunch meat, loaf of bread, and ride to the hills. I remember those too, Grandma Teresa, in Texas. Uh, as my friend Ronnie Claire used to say, we get a fold over. It was a piece of bread. I said, a fold over? What are you talking about? My friend that was on the Waltons, is Corbett, she'd say, oh, we'll just stop and get a fold over. I said, what in the world is a fold over? I'd never heard it called that. And she said, well, it's a piece of light bread with a piece of meat in it, and you fold it. And that's what we'll have. So she and I had a lot of foldovers when we was going to flea markets or antique shopping or, you know, all those great adventures that we went on to, well, just to be going, you know. And I'm glad that I had her teach me a lot of things, a lot of things. But we'd have a lot of those lunch meat and bread. And I remember we'd all stop at the, they had roadside parks then, or they really wasn't big, just small, you pull in your car, just pull in and there's a few concrete picnic tables, and they might have a little metal awning over them. And we've stopped at a cemetery, and ate lunch because that was just something you did. If you pull over, you try to find, Grandma Teresa says, I miss that show. I do too, Grandma Teresa. The Waltons was good, sometimes fun, clean living. And they come up with some of the best script lines, and it all boiled down, and they'd finally get it all worked out, whether it's mama saving the money up for this, or daddy doing this, or the kids. And I feel like Cora Beth was one of the best parts written for that show because, she was feisty, kind of persnickety, unlike the real woman that was playing the character. She was very shy and very intelligent. But she could laugh, do a good belly laugh, and one day I was at the church that I helped design for her into her home. And she had got a lot of stuff from Los Angeles because she sold her big mansion out there in Los Angeles to somebody named, it was the Red Hot Chili Pepper Band, and his name was Flea, just like a flea on a dog. And she'd sold that big mansion, and so they carted and crated, and so a lot of that stuff was coming in. She had beautiful Gibson paintings. She had just beautiful furniture, and we had to try to place that into this Catholic church. And so let me see if I can find that. I don't know if I have that up here. We're just sitting here talking, remember? Let me get on my my thing here. And let me see. Let me see. I found it. Okay. Let me get back over here, and I will put it up here, and y'all can see it, and we'll talk about it. Possibly. I'm learning this stuff, y'all. I really am. Okay, there's one scene. That is the church. You see how this church has the pillars in it. Well, when I walked in, this was just, it had old stuff in it. It was not. So I decided, well, she didn't have room for a closet. So these two pieces here and here on the back side, I don't know if you can see my hand and my little pointer, But back there on the back wall, those are checkerboard fabric that we made into, that she had made after I had drawn them. I've still got the drawing on each side of that piano, and they've got huge stuffed peacocks on top of them. Now, some of the stuff we bought, one bedroom suit is all that we had to buy. Let me see if I've got, I may have one of her, I think. Let me see. Standing there for a magazine article. Now, she loved beautiful clothes. I have one of these rugs. But that church turned out beautiful. It really turned out beautiful. And one day we might, I might tell you more about it, you know, and see. But it was quite an interesting working for different people, and her being my friend, and you know, we would go on those jaunts trying to find those special little things. And we did that. Let's see, Grandma Teresa, missed that show. Good TV, Z Kitty, 6 Degrees of Separation about police. So crazy. Just saw that house recently. Was that in Granada Hills? No, it was on, let's see. I'll tell you in a minute. Is that right? Let's see. Ronnie's Claire address was on Los Feliz Boulevard. So whether that be in Granada Hills, I'm unsure. Z Kitty, you might have to look that up. But let me see if I had a picture of that too. Let me see. Ronnie Claire. Let me see. Let's see. Now here is the aerial view. I don't know if I can save it. I'm trying. Maybe. Let's try that maybe. Now this is down, aerial view. I've got some, but they're in, let me see if I can find it. Now this is what we had to take everything in this house, downsize it, and there was two buildings there, not just the church. Now here's the, oh, you can't see it. You can't see that, but it's a huge house. I wish you could, maybe I may have the, I may have the house, but the aerial view, it was not, let me try this one. It was unreal because we had to always have challenges. Always have. Let's see if with this one will work. This is the aerial view. Well, you can see how big kind of that is. Had that huge swimming pool at the back, had a circle driveway, and the main house was probably 4 of the church. Then there's an outer building over by the pool. So, having to put all of this stuff out of that house, and this was not all the rooms. There's when you went out the door that's on the right hand side, it went to the nunnery, because this is a Catholic church. So when you went out, you went into another building that was 4 floors, and it was cram packed. And I just had to fix it. You know, I had to make it all work, and I did. And but I do miss her. You know, she was so funny. And if y'all ever get a chance, watch the I can't remember. It's a Walton's one, and a Walton show, and it is on YouTube. I think the name of it. I think the show is called The Flight. You need to watch that because that shows you really how she was. The Flight was where Jim Bob was going to go in the military as in the flight, being a pilot, and they wouldn't let him in because of him not having glasses. And so he meets Corbeth on the road, and she has a flat tire, and she gives him a good pep talk, a sweet, sweet pep talk. And it's very heartfelt. You should watch that. But I'm glad everybody seems like you're doing okay. We're doing okay. I'm just keep trucking along, and Mother's doing a lot better. Her eye is still a little bit bruised, but not. Let me see if I can get this. There's the chats. See, I couldn't find them a while ago. And I was trying to get the chats up there, but I didn't get it done too well. So I'll just cut it off on this one because we haven't had it all this time. So I guess we don't need it this evening. But I'm fixing to get off here. I got to get Mother medicine. It'll be 10 o'clock here before long. God bless you. God bless us. God bless the United States. We do need it. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.